In order to get to sit, I had to say and do awful racist and bigoted things. It was thought that the story was over when Richard Widmark died at age 93 in 2008. They were wrong. His daughter got married to Sandy Koufax, a famous baseball player. Ernest Borgnine's ex-wife was his second wife. But what's the best surprise? It took place in the last few months of his life. No one knew the real story until now. His birthday is December 26, 1914, and he was born in Sunrise Township, Minnesota. Carl Henry Widmark was his father. He was a traveling salesman with Swedish roots. There were English and Scottish roots in his mother, Ethel May Barr. They brought a lot of different cultures to him, but his childhood was never really settled down. Because of his dad's job, the family had to move around Illinois. They lived in places like Princeton and Henry, but they never stayed in one place for too long. Every time they moved, they had to start over at a new school and meet new people. He was quiet and careful afterwards. He learned how to change, which would have unexpected effects on his future. He could flee by going to the movies. Before he turned 4, his grandmother took him to see his first movie. That was it, he was hooked. His love of scary movies like Dracula and Frankenstein grew strong by the time he was a teenager. The way Boris Karloff played Frankenstein's monster stuck with him. He was amazed at how one character could make an audience feel something. But he didn't know it yet, but being interested was the first step towards his future. He stood out at school. He went to Princeton High School in Illinois and did very well in school and found that he liked talking in front of people. After high school, in 1932, he went to Lake Forest College to study to become a lawyer. He had no plans to become an actor until he was cast as the lead in Counselor at Law. His plans changed. It was different from anything he had ever felt before. The stage got the job done. Even after the play was over, he still felt excited about being on stage. His attention changed. By 1936, he had a degree in speech. He then worked at Lake Forest as an assistant director of play and speech. Things didn't go well right away. There wasn't enough talent. Well, he was lucky that he had a lot of drive. He was strong because he had to move around a lot as a child, and he wouldn't give up. He came to New York City in 1938 even though it was risky. The radio became his way in. In the beginning, he did plays like Aunt Jenny's Real Life Stories, which required his voice to be tense and emotional. In 1938, he got his first big part on Aunt Jenny's Real Life Stories, a popular 15-minute soap show. His voice stood out right away. It was strong, smooth, and emotional. He was born to be on the radio. By the early 1940s, he was one of the busiest voices in the business, appearing on several shows every day. He played a tough reporter in Front Page Farrell and a mystery man in The Shadow and Inner Sanctum Mysteries. His thrilling performances kept people watching until the very end. He was a big name in the business because he could bring people to life without being seen. During the Great Depression, when most people were having a hard time making ends meet, Widmark was making $100,000 a year, which was a lot of money. He did very well in radio, but the world was at war at the same time. Widmark wanted to serve, but his eardrum was torn, so he was turned down. He switched to theater instead, and his first show on Broadway was Kiss and Tell in 1943. The comedy, which was written by F. Hugh Herbert and directed by George Abbott, opened at the Biltmore Theater on March 17th and was a big hit. It closed in 1945 after more than 900 shows. It was easy for Widmark to show both charm and depth in his part as Lieutenant Lenny Archer. He became a rising star in live theater after Kiss and Tell did so well. The play also got Joan Caulfield her start as an actress, and she went on to become a Hollywood star. Widmark found a way to help win the war even though he couldn't have been in battle. In the United Service Organization, USO, he performed for American troops stationed abroad. These shows were hard to guess. The conditions were rough, and many of the soldiers in the audience had just come back from battle, but Widmark was up for the task. He learned something new when he performed for the troops, making him change and keep people's attention no matter where he is. When Kiss of Death came out in 1947, it was Richard Widmark's big break in Hollywood. But it wasn't easy to get the part of Tommy Udo. Widmark had never been in a movie before he was 32. Richard Hathaway, the director, didn't think he was right for the part because he looked too serious, almost like an intellectual. Udo was meant to be a crazy, unstable gangster who caused trouble as soon as he walked in the room. He looked strange, with his blonde hair and blue eyes. Hathaway fired him right away. Studio head Daryl F. Zanuck, on the other hand, didn't agree. He looked at Widmark's screen test and saw something strange. His laugh. That nervous, high-pitched laugh wasn't supposed to happen. It made Udo seem creepy and off, though. Zanuck told Widmark he should have another chance. He knew he had to help Hathaway believe in him when he went back into the screening room. He ran his hand through his hair, smiled in a way that was scary, and laughed so hard it hurt. It worked. Hathaway shook, and Widmark got the part. It didn't matter that Widmark was fourth on the list, after Victor Mature and Brian Dunleavy. He stole the show. His Tommy Udo changed his mood all the time. He would smile one minute and get angry the next. They knew right away who the real star was. They told theaters to use his picture to promote the movie and even printed wanted posters with his face on them. The crowds wouldn't look away. Widmark didn't just play a bad guy, he changed the idea of what a bad guy could be. It was the wheelchair scene that stood out the most. Tommy Udo, who always has a smile on his face, pushes an old woman played by Mildred Dunock down a flight of stairs while she is tied to a wheelchair. It shocked me. In 1947, people had never seen anything like it. This was because of the strict Hays Code. Hollywood had to be careful with bloodshed. But Widmark's acting made the scene scary even though it didn't have to be graphic. Some people paid attention. Some people even said that Udo's crazy energy was like early versions of Batman's Joker. The effect happened right away. Tommy Udo clubs were started by college groups. Fans wrote to Widmark and asked him to record his scary laugh on blank phonograph discs. Overnight, he became a big star. He got the Golden Globe for Most Promising Newcomer in 1948. He was also up for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, which is pretty amazing for someone who had just started making movies. It didn't matter that Edmund Gwynn won the Oscar for Miracle on 34th Street instead of him. The nod alone made him a star in Hollywood. Richard Widmark was great at making crooks come to life on screen. Not only did he play bad guys, but he also gave them personality, charm, and a sense of danger that made it hard to look away. Widmark plays Alex Stiles, a cruel gang boss who works in the shadows of Center City in the 1948 movie The Street with No Name. The movie is about an FBI agent who goes underground to catch him, but Stiles steals every scene. Widmark became famous the previous year in Kiss of Death, 1947, when he played the crazy Tommy Udo and smiled while pushing a woman in a wheelchair down the stairs. Alex Stiles is not like that, though. He's not just mean. He's in charge, smart, and very methodical, which scares me. One scene shows how scary he is exactly. Just the right amount of casual danger in it. Stiles felt like he could lose it at any time. The movie isn't just a crime story. Watch this video to learn how the FBI used monitoring, undercover operations, and forensic science to fight organized crime in the late 1000s 940s. But the investigation isn't what stays with you. The act of Widmark. Stiles isn't just another bad guy, he stands for something bigger. People in America after World War II became more afraid of thieves who weren't just thugs with guns, but also men who were smart, organized, and cruel. That's what Widmark gave the audience, a bad guy who seemed eerily real. After 2 years in Night in the City 1950, he played a very different type of person. Alex Stiles and Harry Fabian are not at all the same. He's not in charge. He is desperate because he is always chasing a dream that seems just out of reach. His big ideas don't really work out, but he's good at making things happen. From Jules Dassin's script, the movie is set in London's crime underworld, where Fabian tries to start his own wrestling business. But he's doomed from the start. He's in over his head because he keeps promises he can't keep and hangs out with people who are much more dangerous than he thinks. Widmark gives Fabian a lot of energy in his performance. He moves and talks quickly, and he always looks like he's about to lose everything. He talks so fast that he almost trips over his own words. In one scene where he's pitching his newest idea, his face shows both joy and fear. He is aware that time is running out. Fabian's world feels like a trap because of Dassin's direction. The streets in London are small and windy. Darkness seems to be getting closer. Everyone around Fabian always feels like they are being watched. The movie leads up to one of the worst chase scenes in the history of film noir. Fabian tries to get away from what's going to happen by running through the city, but there's nowhere to go. Gangsters aren't the only ones after him. He is being chased by the mistakes he made. People didn't know what to think of Night and the City at the time, but over time, people have come to agree that it is one of the best crime movies ever. The way Widmark plays Fabian is one of the things that makes him seem real. You don't just look at him, you can feel how desperate he is. You hope against all reason that he might get lucky this time, even though you know he won't. Pickup on South Street took Widmark's success to a whole new level, even though he was already a noir icon by 1953. The movie, which was directed by Samuel Fuller, puts him in the middle of the Cold War sphere. He plays the thief Skip McCoy, who steals Candy's wallet on a busy subway car, played by Gene Peters. He doesn't know that the wallet has microfilm that commie spies are supposed to see. He finds himself in a tough spot between the government and enemy spies who both want the things he stole. Skip is not a hero. He doesn't care about politics or honoring his country. He just wants what's best for himself. One of the movie's most famous scenes makes that clear. He just smirks and asks, "Are you waving?" when an FBI agent tries to beg him to do his job.